Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Okay, so now that it is just a couple of minutes in, we want to be mindful of time and go ahead and get started today. Thank you. We'd like to welcome you to our first information session with the Advisory Network for Small Business. I am Jasmine Walker, PIDC's Marketing Communications Manager. And for those who do not know, PIDC is Philadelphia's Public-Private Economic Development Corporation, and our mission is to spur investment through supporting business growth, fostering developments that create jobs, as well as revitalize neighborhoods and drive growth to every corner of Philadelphia. Now, we accomplish this by providing business financing products, a portfolio of industrial and commercial real estate, and business builder workshops, which you are joining today. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to our partners at the Advisory Network for Small Business to get us started today.
Hello, thank you. I'm Therese Flaherty, and I'm going to be your facilitator today. I'm going to take a deep breath and share my screen.
And as Therese is pulling up those slides, just a reminder to everyone, we do want this to be interactive, so we will have a Q&A session right after our presentation today. And there are ways in which you can use Q&A through our chat box as well as the raised hand function. We'll be checking those the most. Thank you so much. All right, looks like she's ready to go.
Well, I'd like to introduce you first to the people from ANSB and then to the purpose of our webinar and how we'll go about managing your time today. I think you can see me because I'm your speaker. Some of you may know me because for about 15 years, I ran the Small Business Development Center over at Wharton, where we used to work with close to 1,000 businesses in Philadelphia a year. Soon after I left, unfortunately, the Small Business Development Center at Wharton also ended. So today you have the Temple Small Business Development Center, which provides those services. I'm fortunate to have been a part of developing this new nonprofit, which helps a number of businesses that are growing. If you're an established business that wants to grow more, there's not a tremendous amount of help for you in Philadelphia, if you are not venture financeable, there is not a lot of help, and we fill that gap. So we're very excited to be here. These are almost all people I've known for quite a while, and they're good colleagues. So I'm going to introduce you briefly to the four people who are our experts on the panel today, and then I'll show you the agenda. First, we have Brittany Flanagan. She is our board vice chair at the Advisory Network for Small Business. She's a senior vice president at M&T Bank, and she's become a very good friend in the year that I've known her. Joel Smith and I go back 25 years or more. We've both been working with small businesses. And by the way, each of these people are going to introduce themselves as they start to speak, so they'll amplify this introduction. But Joel is on the board of ANSB, and we have known each other in many of the small business support organizations we've worked with in Philadelphia. He's also president and CEO of a company he founded, J.F. Smith and Associates, and he will tell you more about that. Fran McNeil, a number of you know well from 10,000 Small Businesses of Philadelphia. She is the current executive director, and she's an old friend. I've known her for a number of years, and many of you have known her in other capacities at 10KSB, and like Joel, in a number of the small business support organizations. I believe she also has a consulting firm of her own, or at least she did at one time. So she's an entrepreneur as well as the leader of 10KSB, and she'll tell you more about that. And then next, we're going to introduce you to Ozzie Quintero, whom I have just met in the last couple days. He is the CEO and president and founder, I believe, of Triumph Exterminating Services and Supplies. He's also a 10KSB graduate, and I believe also a PIDC client. So he's going to give us perspective on how do you grow. So, and by the way, as you have questions, you can put them in the chat. You can raise your hand, although I'm going to try to get us through the presentation part so that of this program, so that we get to Q&A and everybody has a chance to raise their questions. We also, if you look at the lower right orange box, we have, you'll be receiving by tomorrow morning a follow-up email from PIDC, which will give you the slides from today and which include next steps, contact information for ANSB and for 10KSB, because I think you may well say, oh, that's what I want to do. And fortunately for us all, they are accepting applications and evaluating them now for the fall cohort. ANSB will be accepting applications and evaluating as we receive them. So just so you know, these two programs are welcoming you now. So our agenda today is to introduce the webinar, which I'm doing right now, what we'll be talking about, and the participants. I am going to have each of you, this is fair warning, who has signed on as a participant, to introduce yourself quite briefly. Believe it or not, we're going to get through this very quickly. And if we don't, I will hasten you along. I'll be asking you for your name, your company, and what you're here for today. Just so you have a chance to let us know what you'd like to know and gives us a better chance of covering what you want to hear. After we do that, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, after we do that, we have Brittany on behalf of ANSB talking about what our organization is and what an advisory team can do. Joel from ANSB is going to pick up on how do ANSB teams work and help you. Fran is going to talk about how they've added value and impact to entrepreneurs she's seen have other advisory teams that are very similar, not exactly the same, but similar to these. And I should say, Fran is also on the ANSB board. So she's very familiar with all this. And then finally, we're going to have Ozzy talking about the perspective, from the perspective of having completed 10KSB, having actually grown his business quite a bit with quite a number of different supports, both 10KSB and also PIDC. And then finally, we will get to Q&A. And if we are on schedule, we should have quite a bit of time for Q&A. Whatever we don't get to, or if something comes to mind later, you can just easily reach out to us. Then Brittany will come back, talk about the ANSB application process, and I will finish up with next steps for both of us. So I am now going to stop the share and go to, I believe I want a full gallery view. And I'm gonna, what I want to do, okay, so what I'm going to do is go through my list of participants, attendees, and I'm going to call on you and ask each of you to introduce yourself. Dwayne, you all have the same company list, so I'll just cue you. You should be able to see whether your name is next on the list.
Dwayne, and I was going to say, if I may interrupt, we can go by alphabetical order. We do have our attendees listed there, and I can kind of assist you with that, and so I can call on this.
Would you please call on that? That would be helpful. Thank you very much.
Yes, and once we call on you, I'll click to allow you to speak, and you just simply unmute. If you're able to come on screen, feel free. We'd love to see your face. If not, that's no worries. We'd love to at least hear from you, and a great chance for you to introduce yourself. The first person is actually a call-in person. If you can hear me, it's a number ending in 143. I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
you guys hear me?
Great, we can hear you.
Oh, nice. Hi, I'm Nicolette. Nice to meet y'all. I'm a marketing communications coordinator at the Carlin Collaborative, which is a small, women-owned project management firm. We're based out of Philadelphia, and really just interested. We were founded in 2018, right? And getting more involved in the community, really trying to understand what resources are out there outside of just networking events. Also, some solutions that people here are finding to be helpful, especially in the digital world now, right? Like, how can we be more effective with the small amount of people we have? And that is all. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Jasmine, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the name of that business.
Is that Carlin Collaborative?
Sorry, it's the Carlin Collaborative.
Okay, thank you.
Collaborative.
And Joel
Yeah, thank
has
you.
his hand up. Joel, do you have your hand up to say something? Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next person. Alex Lanucci, please excuse me if I mispronounce. You are allowed to speak.
Hi, everyone. It's Ianucci, close. So
Lanucci.
most people do not get it right on the first try, but thank you for having me today, everyone.
Oh, sorry, Alex. Let me allow you to talk. That was my mistake.
Okay.
All right, Alex, you're back.
I'm back. Thank you, everyone. My name is Alex Ianucci, and I'm with Blueprint Evolution, which is a management consulting firm that specializes in working with organizations to really inspire thriving workforces. Our specialty is in diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic planning. And I'm really grateful to be here today. Trace, thank you again for the invitation. I really am just interested in learning more, connecting, networking, and just engaging with those on the call and all the expertise on the call as well. So thanks again.
Okay, maybe we could say, if you're happy with the questions other people have said, you don't need to say that again. Only say new questions that you're here for.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Also, we have our next person, Sierra Atkins.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Sierra Atkins. My company is named Absolute Access Powerhouse. It's a nonprofit in Philadelphia. I'm actually really excited for you guys to be sharing information. One question that I do have is, something that I've struggled with the company is growing a team and also growing in the community. So really wanted to find out if there's different ways about growing in the community to help fundraise a nonprofit. And yeah, that's really it. But thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Sierra. All right, our next person is let's see, okay, hopped on Damaris, and please excuse me, Rodriguez Alvarado. You're allowed to speak.
That was amazing. Thank you. I'm Damaris Alvarado Rodriguez. I would get off camera, but I don't have an option. I am the executive director and owner of Children's Playhouse, which is 2 high-quality childcare centers in South Philadelphia. I also just recently, probably about a year ago, just opened up Innovative Education Consulting Services, which is consulting services for other childcare providers and or business-minded folks, and supporting them with marketing and educational supports and so on and so forth. In addition to that, I'm actually in the process of opening up my nonprofit, Latinos Educando Juntos, and is helping the Latinx communities and family members in the communities with resources, immigration services, education opportunities, name it, that's what we're doing. So that's who I am. Thank you all.
Thank you, Damaris.
You're
Our
welcome.
next person is, let's see, Danita Thompson.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Danita Thompson, and I am the owner and clinical director of Mending Hearts Family Counseling. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and at Mending Hearts, we're in Florence, New Jersey. At Mending Hearts, we offer individual counseling, counseling for families and married couples, mental health counseling. We also integrate Christian counseling with our clinical practice for those who are requesting that. I am really jumping on any webinar and joining and connecting, because at the 10KSB, I left saying that I would show up. And so my goal is to show up and network and to get connected in any way that I can. And I am growing my business now, and any assistance that I can gain in that growth process, I'm here for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Danita. Our next person is Dwayne. All right, and Dwayne, you should be able to.
Good morning. I apologize for the delay. I'm trying to, that's bad. Okay. I do apologize. I'm trying to find a better way to mute everything so I'll be able to talk. Can you hear me now?
We can hear.
Okay. Well, my name is Dwayne. I'm a owner of HCA Contracting, which is a general contracting that specializes in HVAC. And my biggest thing right now is basically, growing my business, having funding to where as though I could bring on more individuals to help, build communities like my own. I'm from Philadelphia, raised, and I see all the new development, that's going on in Philadelphia. And, I wish to be a part of that to grow my city, and one community at a time. But then, coming up, not having a lot of resources for, younger people to enter to trade. I worked as an instructor for 5 years at a local trade school, Orleans Technical College. And my next biggest venture is to start a nonprofit trade school to help, younger individuals, to gain confidence, to be able to come into trade, make a career or a business for themselves. So my biggest thing is networking and trying to find ways of building my business, and that way I can help others.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Dwayne. That's a
Thank you.
great plan you have. All right, and our next person is Hector.
Hi, my name is Hector Bonas. I'm founder of Elevate Health and Performance, an integrated health studio where we deliver personal training and physical therapy. My goal is to take away the need for hospitals by delivering health. And I'm on just because I've been talking about building an advisory board for the last couple of months, and here we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Hector. All right, our next speaker is Justin Bernstein.
Yes, hi, I'm Justin Bernstein. I own Nuts to You. We're a third generation family business. We have retail stores as well as an online presence in the city. And also I'm kind of learning to continue to pivot from the retail footprint to the online world. Our business, like many others, really went topsy-turvy with COVID and kind of figuring out where we fit in and how to succeed in this new world. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I would say I'm also very obsessed with Nuts to You. It's actually really sad. So I have snacks right now that I was eating between meetings. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Me too. You must be growing very quickly. I order a tremendous amount from you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So our next speaker is, and this is McKinney is the last name. Make sure I have that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiwana McKinney. I am the COO of Logan Wagner, We're a small company. We work with a group of residential real estate investors, government, and nonprofits to help revitalize neighborhoods through rehabilitation and new construction. And my hope is to be selected by ANSB in order to work with their advisory team and have them critique our business model.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kuwana. I think this will be a great session for you. Our next person is going to be Kim.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm the owner of Receptionally Yours Banquet Facility. And actually, when the pandemic hit, I had to pivot as well. So what I started doing was outsourcing and started a concierge service, which is doing great. And I have unarmed security as well. So I'm just wanting to network to see what I could possibly do.
Thank you, Kim. We're glad to have you. Our next person is Manish. Please excuse me if I mispronounce. Please correct me as well.
No, that's correct. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Manish Gurawala. I'm the owner with Triforce Consulting Services in business over 22 years. And we primarily specialize in IT, software development, systems integration, and other services that we provide and work with government agencies at federal, state, and local city government agencies, as well as commercial clients. And I've also developed some innovative products as well. And like my business is, of course, it's growing fast. And, I've been on Philly 100, one of the fastest growing company lists. And we've been also on Inc. 5000. And what I'm interested in is to get help on looking at, what I have established so far and what can be done moving forward to, number one, continue the momentum, year over year, and also implement some, measures in place so that way it becomes more kind of, has a solid footing, and have a team around it and things like that. So.
Thank you so much, Manish. I'm so happy to have you here. I think this will be a helpful session for you. We're halfway done, everyone. Great job. So next is Marilyn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm the owner of Wildflower Bakery. We are a gluten-free bakery in New Jersey. And I have like 10 employees. We're facing some difficulty in finding cook and baker. We're having trouble hiring. And we have, since the pandemic started, started wholesale so that we can get our products into local retail stores. So that's how we hope to grow the business right now. And so we've got our packaging and our labeling and all that sort of thing organized for wholesale.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Marilyn, for sharing that. We have next, Michael.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Michael. I own Jibba LLC, and what we do is we acquire manufacturing companies that are family businesses when the family runs out of gas or talent. So we own 4 companies now. One is called Penn Scale. It's been in Philadelphia for 100 years. It makes food scales. Another one is called Duracart. They've been in business for 45 years. They make storage systems for schools and playgrounds. The third is called Duralife. They make medical shower chairs and PVC hampers and closets. And the last is called Float Storage, Urban Patio Living, and they sell storage systems for luxury backyards and hotels and cruise ships. So they're all small. They've all were, in different states of neglect. We build them back up with energy, and we've done a nice job with that. And they've all grown with the energy and just process and tools such as the internet and phones instead of AOL accounts and things like that. So very low fruit. But now we have these wonderful assets and we don't really know what we're doing with them. So we're also working with PIDC to hopefully move into a brand new building to celebrate our 100-year anniversary in September of this year. So working with Arthur on that and very excited.
Yeah.
We also own some other commercial real estate in the area. So I'm trying to learn how to maximize and take the trust that these families gave in selling me their assets and maximizing them hopefully for many more years to come beyond my lifetime.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Michael. I'm so glad to hear you working with Art at PIDC. Great person to work with.
Yes, he is.
Next, we have Mikhail. Please correct me if I mispronounced that. I apologize.
Yeah, that was fine. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name's Mikhail Racine. I'm with Champion Dentistry. We are the House of Smiles. We create healthy, bright smiles in Philadelphia. And I am here to learn more about the program and look forward to being part of this distinguished group of small business owners.
Thank you so much, Mikhail. We're so happy you joined us today.
Thank you.
Next, we have Nicolette.
Hello, all. It is me again from the phone. I was the first
Oh, it's
person.
you. Yes. Well,
But hi
welcome back.
again from the Carling Collaborative.
Nice. Well, we'll go. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll go ahead and move on to our next person. Well, at least we now have your name more clearly, Nicolette. All right. And our next person, I think we had on the roster was Patricia. Patricia. Patricia, you should be able to unmute and speak if you can hear us. We can always come back, maybe multitasking. We'll come back to you, Patricia, if you can hear us. Okay, I think we'll come back to Patricia. The next person on our list is Prasad, and please correct me on the name.
You're right, it's perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Prasad Somana. Hi, Fran. Nice to see you after a long time.
Hi, Prasad.
It was wonderful to participate in the 10KSB program. I learned to pivot and create a new action plan, a new business plan for growth opportunities. But that plan requires a lot of investment. So I'm trying to grow my current business. My business name is Innocom Inc. We provide staffing services. We are based in Ewing, New Jersey, but we have contract workers in 9 states across the US. But we still find it a struggle to bring in new clients because staffing is a saturated market. So I'm, open to suggestions and guidance from this wonderful team on how I can break into new clients so we can, ramp up our revenue so I can invest into the growth opportunity that I had developed in the 10KSB program.
Awesome. Thank you, Prasad. Thank you. Next, we have Rich.
Oh, there's the unmute button. Okay.
You made it.
Oh, goodness. I've been fretting about where is this unmute button? I don't have an unmute button. My name is, I'm Dr. Rich Parenti. I'm from KO12 Kids School. We're affectionately known as Kids on 12. Since 2007, we were a child care center. We ventured into, thanks to the wonderful people at 10KSB, we ventured into elementary education. We have kindergarten through 2nd grade now.
We're looking to grow possibly to 4th or 5th grade. And I would love to have an advisory team just to help us navigate our entry into private elementary education.
Okay. Jasmine, could I interrupt just for a second?
Sure.
I think we probably have what, about 8 more people to introduce? Is that about right?
We should be on our last person, to be
Last
honest.
two.
Last two, yes.
Last 2.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, we're on the roll. So our last person is, well, second to last is Terry.
Hi, everybody. I own Tango Multimedia. We're a full-service ad agency located in Montgomery County. During the last 4 years, we have grown more than 60% each of those 4 years. And this year, we're on pace to grow at least 87%. So growth has been happening, and I struggle to keep up with the operational needs to support that growth. I also feel that growth can accelerate. So I'm here because of those challenges in my company. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Terry. We'll circle back around to Patricia Claybrook. If you're able to speak and would like to say anything, feel free to. And while we are waiting on Patricia, I saw that Ricky had a question. Ricky, let me know if you still, in the chat, if you still have a pressing question. We'll be happy to answer for you. Okay, let me see. Ricky, you're welcome to speak.
Hi, I really didn't have a question. I just wanted to make sure you saw that I was one that didn't introduce myself yet.
Yes, Ricky, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ricky Renz. I own AR Workshop Chestnut Hill. It's a DIY home decor store. I've had it for 3 years, and I'm just looking to grow my business in all ways possible. And as well as I want to own the building that maybe not my current location, but I want to figure out how to own my building where my store is going to be housed.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ricky. Thank you for hopping in. I'm glad we did. If there is anyone we may have skipped, please feel free to place your information in the chat. For the time being, we will move forward with the helpful information that you all came here for. So I'll hand it over to Therese. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourselves.
Thank you. I'm going to reshare, I hope. Yes. And we're going to start, whoops, see if this works, from the current slide. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to pick up with Brittany in a moment about ANSB advisory teams, what our organization is. Go on to Joel, who will expand on how an ANSB team works. And then Fran will talk about how valuable ANSB teams are. But having listened to a number of you, you have heard that 10KSB is a very important program for people who've been very successful in growing. So if you have not already attended 10KSB, pay special attention when Fran speaks, because she will explain how 10KSB has helped people and prepare them for what is very often a later stage of getting an advisory team to help implement a growth program. And then we'll have Ozzy talk as the entrepreneur. We'll give you ways to ask questions and reach out to us all later. Our next speaker is Brittany, the vice chair of our 10KS, of our ANSB advisory board. She'll introduce herself as well as ANSB.
Great, thanks, Therese. Just making sure, can everybody hear me? Perfect, okay, good. So welcome, thanks for joining us this afternoon. As Therese said, my name is Brittany Flanagan. I've been a part of ANSB since the organization started, actually, which is pretty exciting, and I'm happy to be in the role of the vice chair. For work separately, I work at M&T Bank. I've been there for almost 10 years. Most of that time actually in the Bucks County area, working with small to medium businesses, and helping them with their financial plans. And to some of your points earlier, right, finding some of that sustainable growth, being able to buy their buildings, things like that. So the way ANSB comes in, and the reason actually that I decided to join ANSB when it started is it's volunteer driven and it's experts in their field, right? It's people with the business expertise to help create sustainable growth and to build strategies and to help make those strategies not just the theory, but something that you can execute to create that growth that you're looking for or overcome that challenge that's in your way as part of your business. So ANSB is, like I said, it's a number of volunteers to come together and really understand what's happening for a specific business owner, what their challenges are, what they're trying to overcome. And we create a tailored advisory team of typically it's, I would say 3 to 5 professionals, but it really depends on what's going on for you and what it is that you need, what's the expertise that you need. And we pull together these volunteers that work with you to help overcome these challenges and to help give that advice and that outside perspective that you might not otherwise have, which is pretty cool. So with that, wanted to talk through a few different options. I'm sure you've heard the term advisory board or consultants or board of directors, and it can all get a little bit mishmashed together. So we wanted to really help explain the difference. An advisory board doesn't actually make the decisions for you, right? It's an outside kind of sounding board, if you will, to help come up with ideas and overcome some of the challenges. Different perspective, not a part of the company, right? It's outside. And oftentimes they're hand selected by the CEO, but there are ways, like we said, for ANSB or other organizations that can help build that for you with a different network, right? External consultants would be hired. They typically work in the business, in the industry, are really familiar with that particular industry and are assigned by a CEO. And a board of directors actually does make the decisions. They have a fiduciary responsibility. They're often representatives for the shareholders. They're selected by the shareholders. They play a little bit of a different role from an advisory board. So thought that was important groundwork to lay as we hop into our conversation today. But if you do have questions about that later on, please feel free to chime in. So in general, what does this even mean, right? So I took notes on some of the challenges that you've shared this morning or this afternoon that you're looking to overcome. New sustainable ways to grow, maybe happy with your current size, but looking to become more profitable, right? Changes to your business model. This was huge. I think we heard this in a bunch of different ways. Migrating from retail to online, migrating from retail to wholesale, operating more effectively with a smaller staff, moving from working on your business, right, in sales to working, or in your business, I'm sorry, in sales to working on the business, right, creating that growth strategy, that plan for the next level, kind of the succession planning piece of it. Those are all different pieces that an advisory board can help work through. They're the sounding board, like I said, they bring a different type of experience and a different type of expertise. So expertise in HR, in strategy, in communications, in technology, whatever it might be, to be able to help you overcome what those challenges are. And most importantly, it's confidential. So it does require a giving and taking, giving and sharing of information about your business. In order for this to work, you need to really have trust that your advisory board is going to keep that information confidential, but you have to be willing to share the information or they really can't provide you very good advice. So again, on the side, we walked through, there's a few examples of what this might actually look like. I think what we highlighted during that intro was spot on with different ways that an advisory board can help your businesses grow. So with that, I'm actually going to pass this over to Joel, who will talk a little bit about the details of how does that come together and how do we make that work?
Joel?
Thanks, Brittany. So hi, I'm Joel Smith. I am the president and CEO of JF Smith and Associates. We're a management consulting firm. We provide a full range of consulting services to closely held businesses and nonprofits. There's a team of us of about 15. My background, I'm an engineer by training. I spent 30 years in manufacturing, either heading an engineering department, running a company, doing a turnaround, doing a startup. And that led to me to start our consulting business about 20 years ago. I started all this when I was 15, so, you know. But anyway, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how advisory boards work and why they're important. As Brittany said, just about every one of you, when you spoke, you exhibited or spoke to a challenge of growth, business model change. There was some M&A in there. There were different kinds of businesses. There were service companies. There were healthcare, education, manufacturing, and I probably missed a few along the way. I think the important thing is no matter what kind of business you're in, you need the kind of help that an advisory board can give you because it's covers over a period of time. We work with you for a year. And as the slide says, there are in-person meetings and Zoom meetings. There's 4 2-hour meetings and 3 1-hour meetings. They spread out about every 6 to 8 weeks. We talk about your problems. The team that was put together, as Brittany said, could be any number of people. It could be HR, it could be IT, it could be marketing, it could be sales, it could be operations, it could be any legal, accounting, any part of your business, and often it's many of them, and that's why we put these teams together. It's a dynamic thing. It's a beautiful thing, really. I've done dozens of these through my career, both pro bono and sometimes I actually get paid to do it. But it's a very dynamic experience because you have all these different skill sets together, all working off of each other, all creating ideas for you. The key is, as Brittany mentioned, you have to be willing to be open and speak about what your problems are, to talk about your financials. This is a confidential exercise. No one's going to run around and talk about your business. And I see that jumping around here a little bit, but you know, we're going to want to know about your financials. You're going to get homework, and you need to do your homework because you do the work. We're not there to do the work. We're there to understand your problem, make recommendations, and give you things to do. And you need to be ready for the next meeting. So, you know, we're going to discuss your key challenges. We may give you homework to that. So again, there's the 2-hour meetings, the 1-hour meetings. There's some touch points in between. The people that are on your team, you have access to them in a limited basis. They're not there to provide consulting service. They're there to bounce ideas off of, to give you perhaps some ideas about how you might execute better. I think we can go to the next one for me, Therese.
Yep, 2 more, I think.
Okay, so do I talk about the application
No.
process?
No,
Okay,
that'll be at the very end.
okay, well, let me get this out of the way. So during the process, your team will explore opportunity for growth that you see. There were a lot of people that talked about need to grow either within their business model now, change their business model. Very, very typical kinds of problems for any business that's been around for any period of time. You need to know how an advisory team would be useful to you. And the reason they're useful to you is because you're going to get all this different expertise specific to your needs. They're going to want to address the current growth opportunities, as I said. And then, of course, what's the best start date for you to engage with ANSB? Because we'll start when you're ready. We'll meet again by Zoom in about 6 weeks. Then each quarter we'll have a quarterly meeting, and this will last for a year. And with that, I think I covered.
I think this is one more. I think we're going to get our, you should know, many participants. Thank you for your patience. This is the very first presentation we have made with ANSB. So we're getting our act together completely. I think much of this has been addressed. Do you think there's anything else on this slide that we haven't already addressed, Joe?
No, but I think it's important to reiterate, there'll be 3 to 5 professionals. There won't be too many or too few. It's exactly what's identified through the application process, the needs you identify, and that we see, because we do a site visit and we do a phone discussion with you first, so we get an idea of your business, and then we'll visit your site. These are going to be professionals interested in your business, and will help you get to where you want to go.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so that's ANSB, quick overview. Now, Fran McNeil is both on the ANSB board, and of course, she has been meeting with many of you who've already graduated from 10KSB, and a number of people who've had advisory boards after they've graduated from 10KSB, and they have often found them very useful. Over to you, Fran.
Great, thank you very much. Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for taking some time out of your day to think strategically about an advisory board and how it might help you grow your business. I'm Fran McNeil. I'm the Executive Director of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses at the Community College of Philadelphia. So again, welcome to all of our alums. And for those of you that may not be familiar with the 10,000 Small Businesses, you can get more information at www.10ksbapply.com. You can also talk with alumni. Essentially, the focus of this program, of the 10KSB program, is that it's a 14-week free business education program that helps you think strategically, that has you focus on growth, and helps you create a growth plan. And one of the reasons that I think many of the 10KSB alums are on the line is after that 14 weeks, they begin to think about their growth plan, they begin to apply it. And during the program, each person gets access to a business advisor for free. But when they graduate from the program, there is no business advisor. They do work with each other as alumni. And that's where organizations, nonprofit organizations like ANSB come in. So ANSB stands for the Advisory Network for Small Businesses. We're a nonprofit, as Brittany identified. And small businesses often find that as they go through the day-to-day and the strategic application of running their business, that sometimes they need outside help. They need a different perspective. And it's kind of lonely at the top, and you can't always share with your employees or even your leadership team some of the challenges. So what alumni have done in the past is they have often formed their own kind of support group, peer support group, or they have tapped into other nonprofit organizations that might provide advisory boards for women-owned businesses. And one of the reasons that PIDC is partnering with ANSB is that these advisory teams are available for all businesses. So whether you're a male-owned business or a female-owned business, you can apply. So if we take a look at the next slide, if there is a next slide, okay. I do want to turn the stage over to one of our 10KSB alumni and to have him talk about his 10KSB experience and also how, as a business owner, having outside help, having support makes sense. And then after Ozzy finishes, the team of all of us will then answer any questions that you have about advisory board. So I've cut my presentation short so that you can hear from Ozzy, and also so you can begin to put your questions in the Q&A section so we can get to those later, as well as we have a chance to answer your questions. So Ozzy, welcome, welcome, welcome. And thanks for taking
Thank you.
some time.
Thank you. Thank you, Fran. Thank you, everybody that is on the webinar today. Thanks for this opportunity and this invitation. My name is Oswald Quintero. I'm the owner of Triumph and Jigsaw Exterminators here in Philadelphia. For the last 22 years, I've been offering services for pest control for businesses and residential, right? For people that really need help with mice and roaches, and they believe that any facility, any business can be free of these pests, doesn't matter where or how it happens, okay? So that's what we've been doing, solving the pain for many businesses for the last 22 years. And luckily for myself, back in 2014, I was able to participate on the 10,000 small business cohort 3. So it was one of the first ones here in Philadelphia and in the nation. So I was lucky to be able to find a family that provides advisory, ideas, testimonial, support, education, and the most important, the networking. And make you, in my case, I can say today that if it wasn't for the 10,000 Small Business Program, my business, I don't think I would be open after the pandemic, because it gave me the strength, it gave me the knowledge, it gave me all the opportunities that I needed to be able to survive for the last 2 years. I'm seeing many businesses that they couldn't stay open for many, many reasons. But in my case, I know that 10,000 Small Business and all the support for the professionals that we deal with, like Fran, Dr. Wayne, Margaret, and everybody there, right? And the team that I see here on the NASB, I think is very important for any small business owner. And a small business is somebody that makes in this business between $250,000 to $4.5 million. So when we got into the 10,000 Small Business Cohort 3, I remember, right? It was 8 years ago. It looks like it was 2-3 years ago, but it's been 8. And I remember at the beginning of the models, we have 14 weeks, right? We have the best people. We have 10 models that make me bankable and make many of us able to deal with financial institutions, but sometimes you don't know how to present your business. So some of these people that were making, maybe my cohorts, my peers, we were 28 in my class, right? And some of them were making like $1.2 million a year. Some of them were making $3.2 million a year, and they were still struggling to maintain the business afloat in a monthly or quarterly basis. So when we were able to open our books at the beginning, there was a lot of us very skeptical. Nobody wanted to show like the income tax return to other people that you didn't knew. But then it becomes part of what Mr. Wayne used to say, trust the process. Trust the process. And when we saw somebody making $1.2 million and they still have to get loans, paying 20-25% interest a year, and they were short every month, opening one hole to close another one, open another hole to close another one, getting money from everywhere, they start seeing, like what Mr. Joel say, the marketing, hiring, production, negotiating, being bankable, all the steps that make us, sometimes we think that we are a business person just because we know how to make some money. This advisory, teams really take you to a different level. And I have to say today again, that thanks to the 10,000 small business, and we're going next month to the summit, the second summit, the nationwide summit in Washington, DC. This is one of the best things that you can do for your business. And it doesn't matter how much money you make a year, it's how much you know about your business, the opportunity to grow, being capable to grow the business and also maintain the business successful, and also your employees and everybody that surround you, because this is not only about you as a business owner, this is your employees and your family and the networking people that you deal with. So thank you everybody for being here. I think it's very important that Philadelphia, and I like the slogan, that driving growth to every corner in Philadelphia. Thank you so much. This city needs that. And in our graduation day, Mayor Michael Nutter was there with us. And I never forget that we have an opportunity to make Philadelphia better. And I hope that it continues like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ozzy. We have got
Thank
to questions and answers, and I think, Jasmine, can we see the whole group if I stop sharing?
Yes, we should be able to see all of our panelists and speakers.
Excellent.
And we do have a couple of questions. We don't have anything in a Q&A and no raised hands just yet, but just to remind everyone, you're welcome to raise your hand and ask your questions live, or you can type your questions in our chat box or our Q&A function. We'll be monitoring those. So we had a few that came in, and Therese, I can allow you, or if you would like for me to.
Why don't you read them?
Okay. So I think one of the first questions, let me go up to the very top, was this program, Rich S. Said, this program is for a year. What happens at the end of the year?
Okay, Joel, do you want to answer that one, or do you want me to?
So what happens after the year? So it's a fair question. We hope you'll be encouraged to build your own advisory board. To run a business, no matter how smart you are, how much skill you have, how much experience you have, you can't do it all. You can't understand it all. And you're too close to your business. So the best thing you can do now that you've learned what an advisory board does and looks like, you should think about building your own. People that you know, use your network. You can perhaps use the people that you work with at ANSB to give you some ideas. But this is, your question is spot on. It doesn't end at the 1 year. You're not going to learn everything you need to know, and there'll be a new problem next year. So that would be, to me, the logical extension of that.
Great.
And I wanted to thank you, Joel. And I wanted to build on that. That's one of the reasons that 10KSB, as the executive director, I sit on the board of ANSB, the Advisory Network for Small Businesses, is because 10KSB really reinforces that being strategic about your business is an ongoing process, and that business education is both mindset and skill set. So having the vulnerability and the wisdom to say, I need help, I can't do it all, different perspectives are important, and that as not only your business grows and changes, and sometimes it might dip, that there's a whole world outside of you, competition, the economy, the society, the world. And so being able to identify critical strategic problems and then pull together teams to help you focus on those problems is important. So again, I'm really pleased to see that there are a number of 10KSB alums who have benefited from the education and the peer support, and are also recognizing that having continued support is important. Thank you for that question.
Yes, thank you so much for that question, Rich, and thank you for answering. Our next question in order comes from Damaris, who asks, is this provided as a strategic plan for growth with targeted areas, dates, etc.?
This is Therese. No, this is advice. So we have I think several people have mentioned that we have a fairly extensive process of talking with each applicant before we agree to start an advisory board. And during that time, we work with the CEO and the client to help them identify that strategic plan. They already have one, which many who leave 10KSB do, then it's a quick process. Some need to work a little bit and need some coaching to get that clear. But we find that an advisory team works best when you kind of have a pretty good idea of what the strategic plan should be, what the foundation needs to be. So we can put an advisory team in place to advise you to actually execute on it. We'd like to have a pretty good vision. And what we often expect is that it can take close to a year to make the changes in the business to the point where you're ready to see that everything takes off and it starts to feel good. And so a year turns out to be a pretty good length of time once you have a good idea of what your strategy would be.
And Therese, I want to build on this. Maybe it's because I'm sitting here in Zoom land. I just want to interact.
Please.
But
Please.
I do want to build on this. One of the things that you'll see when you go to the ANSB website, there's a button where you can, say that I'm interested, and there's a very quick initial application process. And then after we review that, we ask you to fill out a more extensive application process. And when you're answering those questions, it will help you begin to identify what is the big problem, what have you been doing, what's your desired outcome, and where would having expert advisory panel make a difference. And then, as Therese identified, there's an interview process. And as Joel identified, there's really a map, a one-year map to interact with you, to give you a chance to present ideas, to give the board a chance to give you feedback, the board to give you homework, for you to work on that. And then it's an iterative process, so that rather than saying, we'll work with you for 90 days and then you're magically perfect. No, that's not it. We're going to work with you for 4 quarters. So we'll get to see you spring, summer, winter, and fall. And for some of your businesses that are cyclical, a particular season might really be a tough season or an easy season. So EEC, effective, efficient, and compelling, the application process helps you define it. So if you're not sure, and the interview process will also help clarify whether or not you're ready for the kind of support that the advisory board is ready to give. And thank you again for a great question.
And if I can add, sometimes that's what comes out after our first meeting, is that you really need to put together a strategic plan. Then in other cases, we find you're just not ready to put the plan. You're not organized enough to, why waste the time putting a plan? And we might spend the year advising you in certain areas so that when the year is over, you're ready to put your plan together. So I think that the real key is this isn't one size fits all. You're getting experts that have been in business, that are agile, experienced, skilled. And so we do our best to make our advice fit your needs. So there is no, like I said earlier, there is no one size fits all.
Yes, great question. Thank you so much for that question. Our next question actually came from Rich again earlier in our chat box. It says, someone mentioned that this was an obvious extension of 10KSB. How does this program differ from 10KSB?
Okay,
Fran,
I'll
that's over
start
to
with
you.
that. I'll start with that one. 10KSB is a free program sponsored by the Goldman Sachs Goldman Sachs Foundation, and it's a 14-week business education program. So there are set modules. We called it the curriculum ladder, or I might have affectionately called it the curriculum Ferris wheel, that take you through on a repeated basis certain business concepts. You're working in a cohort with a group of small business owners that are going through this 14-week process with you. You have to create a growth plan, and there is a lot of peer learning based on that cohort. So the difference with this advisory board is you, the CEO, fill out the first and the second application, identifying why an advisory board might be helpful. Second, you, along with ANSB, evaluate whether or not you're ready for an advisory board. A customized advisory board of 3 to 5 experts work with you for a year, and there is a small fee. So this group is dedicated to helping you leverage the plan that you're coming in with and address the business issue that you've identified, and then provide support both in the structured meetings that Joel identified and some brief ad hoc meetings if you need them throughout the year. Rich, I'm wondering if you could go off mute. You asked 2 great questions. I'm sure you've got a triple play back there with a 3rd great one. But in terms of the first and second questions, did we address those?
All right, let me unmute. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Fran, thank you. And hi, good to see you again. You look very good. I love your glasses. New glasses.
Thanks,
I love them.
thanks.
Yeah.
Joseph helped me pick them out, you know, our
Yeah.
stylist, 10KSB stylist.
I'm
So
hoping for some jokes along the way too, so don't forget.
Right.
Fran has good dad jokes. Yeah, you answered. Yes, you did answer my questions. Thank you very much for that. And actually, as you were speaking, I actually wrote that question before you explained, before you spoke. So you actually answered that as well in there. And Joel also answered a lot of the questions that I had. So if a short follow-up would be, what is the fee? Or is that published somewhere? I didn't see that.
yes, that is published, and someone did ask for the website, so I'm going to put that on up. And then I'm also, if I'm able to share my screen, I'd like to, can I do that? I can. Oh my goodness, I'm dangerous. I love it. Okay. Okay, I'll promise to be EEC. So this is the ANSB website, and the link, one of our team members will put that in the chat. It's ansb.org. for the Advisory Network for Small Businesses. And so if you click on Contact Us very quickly, you can get on our mailing list, you can email us directly, or you can apply online. And so what I'm going to do is share with you that if you apply online, this it tells you about the qualifications. So the kinds of businesses that we think might best benefit from an advisory board. So for service businesses, we're suggesting an annual revenues of 250K minimum. I have had some 10KSB alums ask me, what if I'm at 200,000 or 195? You know, apply and we can talk about it. Manufacturing businesses, annual revenues of 400 minimum, at least 2 full-time employees, which can include the owner. And the 4th bullet's really critical. You must be coachable and growth-minded. And so the initial application is very brief, and I wanted to show that. And then in answer to your question, Rich, if you decide that you want to complete the full application, so the first application is free, no fee involved, then you have access to the more detailed application, so you can look at it, you can fill it out at your leisure, and then once you're finished filling it out, and so Damaris, you'll see that it has a number of questions helping you think about, you know, your business, your competition, etc. like 10KSB, we want you to kind of be prepared and be thoughtful. And then it identifies that there's a non-refundable application fee. We'd like you to provide your financials and evidence of ownership. And then we identify what the fees are. So very similar to Maury's Know Your Worth and Communicate Value, we don't put the fees right up on the first page. We've decided that if you're interested, you're going to do an initial application, you're going to complete the application, and when you're ready, make the payment. And it's at that point that we share with you that it is a sliding scale fee. So if your business generates less than 500K in annual revenue, the fee for the year, and it is a one-time fee that we expect you to pay up front. If you need a payment plan, we can talk about that. It's $1,200. So essentially $100 a month, less than your phone bill, I'm sure. If your revenues are between 500K and 1 million, the fee is $2,000 a year for that first year, and it's only a year. And then finally, if your revenue is over $1 million, the fee is $3,000. So I will stop sharing. And again, let me just check the chat to see if the link has been put there. Yes, Brittany put the link. I'll put it there again. And as you know, with Zoom, you can just click on the link and it'll take you there. I encourage you to explore the website. For those of you that know a 10KSB alum, Laura Kelly of the Handwork Studio, she has created a video for us, a testimonial, talking about the power of advisory boards. And Laura is, like Manisha's business, has been on the Philly 100 in terms of fastest growing businesses. So Rich, again, you give me the mic. I've been out of practice. This isn't 10KSB, so I didn't have my EEC hat on. Did I answer your question in terms of the fees?
Am I on? Yes, wonderful, Fran. Thank you so much. And I think that was EEC.
And if I can add, I think it's important for you to know that those of us we're volunteers. We're volunteering our services. We get no remuneration. The fees just cover the costs of our doing business, administrative support, and that sort of thing. So we believe they're very modest, but none of us, we do this work because we're passionate about helping you get your businesses to grow. We've done a lot of work collectively in economic development in the region. And this is, I think, even one of the best ways I've been involved with, that I've found, because it's direct help right to you as a client. And at the end of that year, you're going to be that much further advanced. And I did want to make one comment about the Goldman Sachs program, because in a previous organization, I did a lot of work, similar work, and we did work with graduates from that program. And it's a very, very natural progression, because it's more or less like going to school. With all due respect to the GSK program, you're going to learn a lot of fundamentals, and we're going to help you apply many of them and move to the next level. So it's a very, very nice progression. I mean, we've had clients that haven't gone through the Goldman Sachs program, but going through that program first is a real positive transition into ANSB.
Thanks, Joel. Jasmine, additional questions?
We do. So thank you so much for your questions. Just a reminder, guys, we do have a few minutes left. So if you haven't asked your question, go ahead. I am answering them, having them answered in the order they were received. So our next question actually comes from our Q&A chat box. And that is, what is the best way to prepare for a discussion on becoming bankable?
Brittany, that sounds like a setup for you. Sponsored by M&T Bank.
Sure. There are a bunch of different things to, I guess, bring together when you're starting to think about becoming bankable. I think a lot of small business owners, especially when they just get started, there's a lot of the banking that's done out of your personal account. And one of the easiest first steps to do is to separate out the business finances from your personal finances. And that'll make it a lot easier to track over time what you're spending for the business really is and where you're investing and how that account is growing, right? Because you want to see that be able to grow. I highly recommend, if you don't actually work with a specific banker, that you reach out and do that. Not necessarily at M&T, but I do think that it's really important to be able to develop a relationship with somebody at a bank, and they'll help you work through that process. Because some people, when they say bankable, they just mean that checking account, that how do I get started? Other people are thinking, well, how do I start to accept credit cards for my business? And other people are thinking, I want to be able to buy a building for my business. And so there's different views of what that means. And each really requires its own separate piece. And a lot of that depends on how it's structured. Are you a sole proprietor? Are you an LLC? Are you an S corporation? How does that look? What are the different documents that you need to be able to show that? And other parts of it are, who do you want to have access to this and why, right? Like, be really thoughtful about who you're giving access to your funds. So I would encourage you to do a little homework to see what banks are really good with working with small businesses. One of the things I would keep an eye out for as you're getting started is some banks have qualifications or qualifiers, I guess, on what is considered a new business. Back when I was doing business banking a few years ago, some of the banks said 3 years in business was considered new, which is mind-boggling to me. Others said, go open an account or go open a business, start something, and we'll be able to work with you. But we want to understand what your plan is. And you need to be able to answer some really basic questions about what are you going to be doing and how can we help you grow? So I think it's important to at least have a plan of what your business is going to be. But I'd be happy to take that offline if there's anybody that has additional questions about that.
Thank you so much for that information. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and move forward to our next questions. If we happen to get any past time, I'll just leave that to our speakers if they happen to have a little extra couple of minutes to stay on. And if not, we'll take the names and questions of those who we did not get to. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're so glad that you have so many questions about this program. It's really important. Our next one comes from Marilyn. Marilyn asks, will this advisory board lead to creating a new business plan?
Who wants to answer that one? So this is Therese. A business plan is a very basic tool, and it can mean many different things at different stages in your business. So if you really don't have a business plan yet, you're probably going to want to find a way to get one. And you probably want to do that before you get involved with ANSB, and possibly even before you get a little bit involved with 10KSB. 10KSB usually helps you refine a business plan. I do know that the Small Business Development Center over at Temple will have a class that will walk you through writing a business plan, and the Small Business Development Centers in Pennsylvania have a class online that would help you get through and basically get a first draft. They ask you the questions, as Fran was saying, our application asks you those questions. But if you've never done one, it's worth taking a look at a book or taking a look at a course and thinking about what would a business plan be, and a little bit about why would you want one. If in doubt, I know we would be happy to give you some advice, and I think also your friends at PIDC would give you some advice about where might you find the kind of support you need for a business like yours right now to get a business plan. And by the way, we always say, don't pay anyone else to write it. There are a lot of people who will charge you to write your business plan. It's never valuable because the business plan is for you. It's not for someone else. And it just never embodies your ideas. So that would be a warning. But other than that, that would be my view. Fran, what do you think?
Yes, I was going to add, part of what I'm wondering if the question is getting at is at the end of the year, what do you end up with? At the end of the 14 weeks with 10 KSB, you end up with a growth plan.
Right.
At the end of the year with ANSB, what do you end up with?
Yeah.
Well, as a result of carefully completing the application, having an advisory board for a year focused on a particular issue,
right,
you should have clarity about that issue. And because you have advisors from 3 to 5 perspectives, let's just say your issue was marketing and moving from a retail based business to corporate delivery over with locations that are more than 100 miles from your site. Well, you're based on the marketing person, maybe the operations person, maybe the HR person, maybe even a lawyer on your team, and maybe someone who has expertise in logistics and negotiating contracts with other people. You would have a process and plan, not necessarily a business plan, but you would have a process and plan that would go through your entire business. It would, impact your HR. It would impact how you market. It would impact how you follow up. It would impact your negotiations and contracts. Does that help, Marilyn? Okay.
So there we go. Thank you so much for providing, some detailed information on that. We have a lot of good questions coming in, and so we'll move to the next we received an order from Justin. And if there are any questions, please excuse me, charge it to my mind and not my heart that we have already answered just along the way. Feel free to let me know. And Justin asked, do you all recommend companies to work with during the process? Example, I could use help with digital marketing. Are there companies whom you've worked with that you would recommend?
Joel, you answered that in the chat.
Yeah, so I've been trying, because I'm in the interest of time, to answer some of these. My answer to Justin is yes. Part of our process is you have to understand, as part of your advisory board, we can't become a service provider for you. That would be a conflict of interest. So what we do is, when we recognize that you need a certain kind of service, we will recommend people within our collective network to you. And so that's how we cover that. And that's happened probably in every panel I've been involved with. It might be an accountant, it might be a lawyer, in your case, a marketing firm. And because there's so many of us involved with this, there's 15 on the board and others that are part of our advisory board team, we collectively have a lot of good connections.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joel. And I see you, excuse me, because I see you're already on a couple of these questions. And
I didn't know if we were going to get to them, so
No, perfect, because we want to make sure we answer everyone's question. And so, yes, please let me know. And it looks like Ricky had a question regarding the annual revenue, and it looks like you answered that in our chat as well. So moving down from Ricky, I see a question you answered from Danita about deadlines, and did mention that those are rolling basis for those deadlines for the applications. Great. Going down further, we see a question from Damaris, and I'm trying to see if we answered that one. It says, just to be clear, advisory for profit and nonprofit, correct? What if you have more than one business?
Yeah, I was just going to answer that one. So we have worked with for-profits and nonprofits. My secretarial skills, if that's the right word anymore, I can only type so fast, so I apologize.
No, it's okay.
But yes, we've worked with both. There is one challenge when we work with nonprofits that we need to be very, very careful about. If you have, and you do have a board of directors, we just have to be mindful of their role in this and our role as an advisory board. But if it's outside the ability of your board of directors to help you with certain issues, you're a business. You're not. It's just you're a different part of the IRS code. So there's no reason why we can't help you. And we just worked with a client earlier this year who had both a for-profit and nonprofit business. We worked with her on the for-profit side, but it was, the nonprofit had to come into the discussion at times anyway. So yeah, that's a long about way to say yes, we can help you with both.
Perfect. Good to know. Thank you for that.
Jasmine, I just wanted to add one other thing. Part of the question was, what if you have multiple businesses? So we're only going to work on one business at a time, just for the clarity. So we do have an alum, Michael Brown, who started with one business when he was in cohort 1 of 10 KSB, and he now has 7. So if he decided, he would have to choose which of the 7 businesses, go through the process for a year, and then choose another.
Right. I need to interrupt for a moment because we are at 2:27 and we promised we'd finish by 2:30. So let me ask the following. We have a couple more slides to give you next steps. And Brittany has a very nice, exciting announcement for us. So I'd like to move to sharing my slides. Jasmine, if people have more questions, can some of us who are available stay on and answer questions after this?
Yes, we actually only have really quick question. So Danita just wanted to know if there are any limitations for the business being in New Jersey.
No, they're very welcome. Thank you.
Perfect. And I think that was, I think we just had one more from Sylvia, who asked, can you put the application site back on in there? And that's pretty much it.
Just a minute. The application
also want to
site. Yeah,
a shameless plug, because Sylvia is one of our PIDC clients with Love Foods, and we did a recent PIDC client success story on there. So I'm going to plug that in the chat. So good to see you.
Great. So we had Q&A. This is the fee structure and the application eligibility. Brittany, we will be very fast here. And we will also have the ANSB website in the last slide, which will be sent to you by tomorrow. So Brittany, over to you.
Perfect. So to encourage you all to apply, we're really excited to announce our first award, which is really the most promising ANSB entrepreneur. So our hope is that we're going to get a number of applications and be able to review them and identify the candidate who has the I guess, best put together business plan that seems like we'll be able to help them grow their business the most over the next year. And we're really excited. And in addition to having that title, that fee that Fran had walked through earlier, which I know some of you probably felt a little sticker shock about, we're actually going to be able to reduce that fee. So depending on that sliding scale where you fall on that, we'll reduce that by 10%. And we'll be announcing our winner this fall. So really exciting. In order to qualify, you do have to submit your application by September 18th. So if you're on the fence, you're not quite sure, I would encourage you to submit that initial version, that short version, enter into our system. Therese or I or somebody else on the team will be able to give you a call. We'll talk it through with you. We'll see if this is a good fit. And if it is, you'll still have another few weeks to get your full application in. And we're really excited to have the opportunity to work with all of you. So that's all I have on the award. Thanks, Therese.
Thank you, Brittany. And then this is our final slide. This is the information where you can find our website and the 10KSB website in case you want that information. We also have a meet and greet in person in Bluebell next week. And we'd love to have you. This link will let you register. I will tell you that we're almost full. So if you want to come, please sign up soon. And if you wind up being on the wait list, we'll be back in touch with you within a day or two. We may well schedule another meet and greet networking fairly soon, but we'll also be right in touch. So, and you can, if you want to learn more, fill out that application or email me directly, and I will put you in touch with everyone Fran, any other last words before we finish up?
Thank you. I'm very, want to say thank you to all of the small business owners who took the time to invest in their business in terms of mindset and skill set, in thinking about how to grow their business with the advisory team, and look forward. If you have questions, please feel free to contact me. If you're a 10KSB alum, go out to the website. We're monitoring that on a regular basis. And thank you to the ANSB team and PIDC for driving growth to every corner of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you to all the speakers. We appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you also,
Very well.
Ozzy, for being our small business owner, sharing about their experience.
Yes, thank you to everybody. And want to say one last thing, that we, all business owners, I think we share the same or very similar DNA, that we have the desire for success, right? And we cannot accomplish that without knowing the opportunities, the metrics, and finding the right people to show us how to get that. I believe in that, right? Thank you.
I agree. Thank you so much from PIDC. We appreciate you, Therese, Brittany, Fran, Ozzy, Joel. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you so much for the attendees. We hope to see you soon in the ANSB team, so we have a great day, and we'll be hosting another repeat info session in the fall. If you have any friends who may have missed this one, we hope you have a great one.
Good luck to everyone.